Hi, welcome back to Random Romania. This is a friend of mine, Robbie, who comes from Denmark originally and has decided to come to Romania for some reason. And we're going to talk about that. And also a few people on the channel have asked about me doing an interview as well. So we thought it'd be fun to just ask each other questions and see what we get. So that's what we're going to do. So I go first. And
okay, go for it.
What are you doing in Romania?
Coming to visit you, of course.
You live in the mountains in Italy, right?
I certainly do.
Because you sent me the pictures. It looks very nice. So what's wrong with that? Not enough?
Probably a couple of things.
Okay.
First of all, there's a lot of bureaucracy in Italy. Mm-hmm. And I was getting a bit tired of that. Mm-hmm. Say, take for example, I'm off the grid, completely off the grid. Mm-hmm. It took me over a year to get permission to put solar panels on my roof. Mm-hmm. Whereas I could have a diesel generator running, chugging away 24 hours a day without mm-hmm. any permission whatsoever. So it was just like lots of little things like that were mm-hmm. just kind of driving me insane. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to sort of explore other possibilities. And I've got quite a few friends who come to Romania, and they say that it's still like one of the remaining wild places sort of in Europe, like in the nature. Yes. And me and my family, we love nature. Mm-hmm. So I was really curious to come and see basically, how Romania was.
Okay, your turn. We can do two for one if you want me to ask.
No, that's okay.
Sorry.
I was basically wondering, like, living in Romania, mm-hmm. how is it with the language? Is it like...
you have to pick that one. Well, my Romanian is useless.
No, I mean, but do most people sort of speak English, or is it quite difficult to get by?
Actually a really good question. So a lot of younger people speak English, mm-hmm. and most people speak a few words or some English. So I don't speak very much Romanian. I'm not very good at it. And I've not really had any serious problems here. Okay. But there's another thing as well. If you're doing business or doing anything complex, it doesn't really matter, because if you're making legal agreements or doing some kind of business, there's very few people who speak proper English with the technical language as well. So sometimes I found it's actually easier trying to work things out with a very good interpreter and someone who doesn't really speak English, because we end up with having to understand the details. Whereas if you've got someone who thinks they speak English, they don't, and I don't speak Romanian very well at all. I can just about get by. So I don't know. People mock me for it, but I made some pretty good business here and had a fairly good life here. So
it's mainly just through an interpreter.
I spent my time doing that rather than trying to learn the language. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
My turn. Okay, what do you think about Romania so far? First impressions. You haven't been here before?
No,
never.
First time. First time.
So,
what
surprised you the most?
What surprised me the most? Well, I'm not sure. Let me see. I think this area here is kind of like made me more sort of happy about being in Romania. Like I started to really like connect with the country here. Okay. Because
where we are now?
Yeah, where we are now, just coming back into the nature. That's what I really like. That's kind of like I had this image in my head, like a lot of nature in Romania.
Yes.
And then sort of landing in Bucharest and just going on the highway and everything, it was all flat. And I was sort of looking like, okay, where are the mountains? Where's the nature? And so arriving here, I was much, much happier because the flatlands, it's similar in Italy, just around the Milano area. It's just all flat and some industry and things like that. But so far the people have been really friendly. The little interaction I've had, they've been really friendly, and they have spoken English. That's why I was wondering about it, if it was just in the Bucharest area or it was a kind of countrywide phenomenon or not.
Yes. Okay, my turn. So what's your interest in Romania? What are you thinking to do? Are you thinking to move here maybe, or have a place here, or come here some of the time, or?
It's a possibility. I mean, sort of everything is open at the moment. I've just come over here to investigate, basically. I did kind of have in the back of my mind, it would be nice to have a small piece of land out in the nature and just to have a tiny house on it.
Yes.
Just somewhere that we could kind of escape to at the beginning. And then we could, dip our toes in and see what it's like living here. and then possibly move here in the future. We'll see. Have to get the wife over to see if she agrees or not.
Yeah, no comment on that one.
Exactly.
Your turn.
Could you possibly sort of like, about your community project here, could you give me like the sort of the salesman's pitch on it? Like what exactly you're aiming to achieve here?
Well, the idea really is pretty simple. There's a lot of people in the West that want to get out of the West for whatever reasons. I don't want to talk about these reasons because they're controversial, but we all know what they are. And people started, I know a couple of years ago, I started talking to people that I know who were asking me because they were just interested in Romania, because they figured out that I'd moved here for a reason, never really figured out why, and now they understand why that is. And they asked me, and me and Christy made this channel, and we started getting these inquiries from people like, what's the deal with coming to live there? And then I figured out that I could probably solve something that's bugged me ever since I've lived here, is that I can't find any other Westerners around that are kind of entrepreneurial minded and want to stick in the, if you want to make a proper business, it's an all-in effort. There aren't that many people like that in the West. I've seen plenty of Romanians do this for themselves. It's hard to find people to work with, and the mentality is just different. I don't want to say it's worse or better or whatever. It's just different, and it's hard to find people that I can relate to, that I can work with.
Okay.
And now I see this big opportunity to, it's no longer kind of oddball characters or just traditional expats. You've got people with money, middle class, qualified, properly skilled, that are looking to come here. So it's simple. I move a few people like this around me. We build a small community, and then we can collaborate on whatever. Look out for each other. Look out for each other's properties. Whatever. This is in simple terms. That's the basic idea. And I'm getting loads of interest. I get an email every week now, and people getting more and more into the idea. The more I speak to them, we'll have the first person will join it soon, and then it will be easier to pitch to people because it will be two of us and not just me.
Mainly people from Europe or further abroad?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like English and Americans are the easiest for me to communicate with well, because the mentality is very similar. But with Germans, Dutch, all sorts really.
Okay.
But probably the culture's more close to the English speaking, so the Dutch and Germans and Americans.
And what sort of age group would you say is mainly coming, or is it all over the place?
So no, it's people from 20 to 60, I would say.
20 to 60, okay. So
but
big range.
more the middle age and older ones. But I'd very much like to get a bunch of younger people involved, because if you're trying to do a business, you need young people, because they just have a different energy and a different mentality, and a lot of the stuff we want to do, we want to be appealing to young people, and they live in a different world. And
that's true.
It takes one to know one. It's not a bad strategy to sell something.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Right, I need to ask you. So what do you do for a living? What's your profession?
Quite a number of things. I would say what I'm mainly doing, well, actually what I'm going to be doing next week, is I fly drones professionally for working at usually extreme sports events. And I work with a company, and we film the whole event, the live broadcast, and then we send it out live, of course, over satellite. We make little event clips, and then we also make like a whole program that usually gets sold to Eurosport or Bain Sport or something like that. So that's sort of the main thing I do.
So like what we do, but properly.
I have possibly, I don't know.
And which countries do you go to? Sorry, that's two questions.
That's fine. All over the place, really, with that. This year so far has been Vietnam, Indonesia. Now next week is going to be in Sardinia, in Italy as well. Next one, I believe, is France. And then it just sort of keeps on going after that. And the nice thing is that it often changes year by year as well. So you can go to different countries.
Very cool.
And that's sort of my main job. And then I teach water sports as well, which is something completely different, and also winter sports.
Can you wakeboard?
I can wakeboard.
Yeah. Can you do jumps and things like that?
I can do. Have broken my arm doing that. Yeah.
Yes.
We do mainly wind sports though, so more like kite surfing, wing foiling, things like that.
Is a wind foiling thing with a hydrofoil?
Exactly, yeah.
And you have that kind of inflated wing thing. That looks very cool.
It's very fun.
Is it hard to do that, or can you pick it up in a...
You can pick it up in about a week.
Yeah.
In about a week. And the nice thing with the hydrofoil is you don't have to be out in the ocean for it. You don't need that strong wind. You just need sort of, 5 knots and above. So even if you have a lake around or something.
Because looking at that, I'm guessing that's actually much easier on the legs than doing a traditional windsurfer, because does it chop up and down much with the...
No, not too much. Yeah, it probably is a bit easier on the legs, but you are balancing all the time. So
you are balancing?
You're balancing.
Oh, okay.
Because you got to put front and back foot pressure. So if you put too much back foot pressure, you're going to hop out of the water. Too much front foot pressure, you're going to nosedive. So you are sort of...
Are you attached to it?
Bit. You have foot straps.
Yeah.
But not like a binding, like wakeboarding.
Not like a weight, yeah.
Something easy to get out of.
Okay, your turn.
We were talking just before, which I found very interesting, was you were mentioning that you had fiber optic broadband here.
Yes.
And you were saying that in most of Romania, that's kind of like widespread.
Yes.
So in theory, like anybody could just come here. If anyone had to work sort of, basically working from home, anybody could do that.
One of the things that I thought about with the community, because I'm looking for engineers and programmers and these kind of people, because there's something very specific we want to make in terms of technical content. Yeah. So Romania is this gold mine of local agronomy knowledge. Like, they know how to grow so many things, all this traditional information about making cheese and whatever, they all do this stuff we call organic, but it's just, they call it just normal farming. Yeah. And of course, which it is. And all that knowledge is just there. It's all gone in the West because people don't do it anymore. But it's labor intensive, it's hard work, whatever. And we have this whole world now where this artificial intelligence is growing exponentially. That on its own is insane. But there's also all this other manufacturing technology like 3D printing and open source engineering information, things that you would have to study or know someone who knows someone. Now you just go on YouTube, there's a video showing you how to do it. It's just like amazing. All the stuff that I wish someone had taught me at school, I can now look up. And if I don't feel smart enough, I can ask ChatGPT, and it doesn't tell me I'm stupid for not knowing. It just has infinite patience, and I can ask it very stupid questions and learn at my pace. This is a revolution in education, but I just don't think many people see it. So the whole point about the broadband thing is that you could theoretically you can work online from pretty much anywhere in the countryside, but also you can broadcast video or do proper media stuff that needs high bandwidth. So you even live streaming or whatever. So I hope if this thing comes together, we'll be doing like a regular live stream. Currently, most people don't think I'm serious or it's possible. But you know what it's like when you're trying to do something. When it all works, which it will, they'll go, "Oh, you just got lucky."
Of course you did.
Yeah, just chance. Yeah, there's nothing to do with all the hundreds of hours you spent on it.
I love your mention of ChatGPT, because I use all the different AIs as well. But I said to you before, I was last week in the UK visiting my mother. Mm-hmm. She's 82 years old, and I taught her how to use ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. She found it amazing. Mm-hmm. And since I've left, she's used it 4 times already for writing letters and all sorts of things. It's incredible.
It's very good, but it's also, I can see trends there where it's just going to, whole professions are just going to get wiped out.
Absolutely.
Like lawyers and legal researchers, and the people that people love the most are going to get hit hardest.
But yeah.
But the thing that I love about it is the fact that it has endless patience.
Yes.
Because if I ask, I've got friends who are programmers who are just genius level programmers, and I used to be able to program, so I know how good they are because I know how far behind them I am, and I can just about get by. I kind of gave up trying to program at all, but now I can get like a Raspberry Pi or Arduino or something and ask ChatGPT the same question, like stupid question probably 10 times, and it just and ask it to keep helping me, and it doesn't get bored. It's just infinitely patient. So wait a little longer before that's a model of a person who's friendly online, and that's teaching your kids, and they sit there, and it's just like having one teacher per kid, or it could even be more, and it can tune itself to that kid's interests and encourage them on specifically what they want to learn. Because I was infuriated by school because they always made me learn stuff I didn't want to learn and kept me away from the computers, which is what I did want to learn. I'm still pissed about that because it was expensive school as well. So you found us obviously from our YouTube channel.
I think so, yeah. I'm trying to remember back.
Oh, okay. Well, that's ruined that question. What I was going to ask was there something about our channel that made it stand out, that made it interesting? Because there are some other channels out there. And there's lots of people talking about Romania. I like to think that I tell people exactly how it is and they trust me. I get the feeling that, because I'm trying to be completely honest, you know, which is a novelty in
I'm trying to remember. I mean, to be honest, I remember I was just sort of like Google searching Romania, buying a small plot of land, sort of building a tiny house, like all those kind of search terms.
Okay.
And I somehow ended up on your basically video.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly how it sort of went about.
That wasn't the answer I wanted, but fair enough.
Sorry.
We have to keep it real.
Sorry.
But it's your turn again now.
I was wondering, just from a practical term, like if you set up this community here, like closest shops or gym or sort of infrastructure,
good right.
Like how far away are things?
This is a good question, and one close to my heart, because I watched as I grew up in my village in England, the pubs and the shops and the nearby shops all slowly get closed down over the course of about, the 20 years I was there. By the time I left when I think I left home, initially attempted when I was 18 and then finally left when I was 19. And by then, two of the pubs had gone and all the shops had gone. So the reverse is happening in Romania. There's a bunch of small, I think they are franchises, like Profi is one. Can you think of others? Doi Pash.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 steps.
Two steps. Yeah. And there's a number of them. And we'll go to one later, I'll show you, because it's very close. So there's one 4 kilometres that way.
Okay.
There's another one 4 or 5 kilometres that way. Okay. Then if I go into the nearest town, there's a proper big Kaufland, that's like a supermarket. And in Pitești, which is where you were, 35 kilometres south here, you've got Carrefour and 3 malls. Okay. And a huge mall, the mall we met in, you know, that Argeș mall, which is very new. And that's...
You can buy very much stuff locally, like from people.
Oh, yeah, sorry, good point. Yeah, so this is something we're going to make videos about. Okay. Because you can buy... It's one of the subjects we keep on promising each other to go and cover and then never get around to it because something else comes up. You can find people in the village that will sell cheese, some meats, livestock you can buy. You know, there's something really interesting happened during the COVID thing. Tell me if this was happening before, because I think it was a little bit, but kind of picked up during COVID, is when they started messing around trying to stop them selling stuff at the market, because Romanians have enormous amounts of initiative in the countryside, they just start driving around in vans with loudhailers, you know, with a PA system saying, you know, we're selling the cheese or vegetables or I've seen...
It's actually a common phenomenon here and it's really old.
It's been going on for a while, has it?
Before cars, we were using things towed by horses. I don't know how to say.
Carts. Horse and cart.
Horse and cart.
People were doing this.
Yes. I wasn't that aware of it. I think I noticed it more during the whole lockdown thing.
Yeah.
Because we started thinking about it more.
Yeah, because they were closing the local markets where people gather up and just sell or trade stuff. It's still happening.
Yeah. So you've got shops and supermarkets and local stuff, and like one of the aims of our community is to start growing a lot more of our own food. Yeah. So the answer is plenty of options.
Okay. Is there like a weekly market as well, or?
Yeah. So you've got there are many market towns in Romania because the name of the town says it's a market town.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the to say in Romanian? Like market targ, something like Turg. You see, that's why I don't try and attempt to piazza.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so there are many towns that are market towns.
Okay.
So there's a market, there's a Sunday market up here.
Okay, nice.
How much stuff is of use or the problem with the markets is there's a lot of imported fruit and veg, for example, that gets in the markets, passed off as local stuff. So it's not quite so straightforward. And there's lots of very good stuff as well. But this is another thing that people keep talking about to me about the community is you only know for sure what you're eating is if you grow it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Right. My turn.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay. So I can't think of any more questions really. If I think of one, I'll say. But you look like you've got more to ask. So, and I've never been interviewed for my own channel, and we were talking about it the other day, thinking I should do it. So fire away if you have more.
Yeah, I was just curious. I saw, and you told me as well, you've got some solar panels around the house. How does it work in Romania? Is it easy to sell electricity back to the grid as well? Do you get credit? Do you get money? How does that all work?
Firstly, to give you an accurate answer about that, I'd have to research it a bit and email it. I know people are doing it. I've heard of stories about credits. There are different electricity providers here. So the way I think I understand it correctly, there's one company state company or private company, I don't know, that controls the grid itself. Okay. And then you've got different companies. One good example, different power producers. One example would be Hydroelectrica, which they do all the hydroelectric dams. That apparently was cheaper for a while. I don't know what the score is now, but the answer is yes, but it's not so straightforward to get it set up. Okay. I don't know how much you know, but do you do that with your solar stuff?
No, I'm completely off grid. I don't have the grid near me, so I can't do anything.
You've got nowhere to sell it to you because I was talking to someone about it the other day, and something rather obvious I never thought of is actually kind of a tricky thing to coordinate, because if you're putting power onto the grid and they come to do maintenance and turn the grid off and your system doesn't shut down,
I hadn't thought about that.
No, I hadn't thought about it either. Yeah. So because I like to complain about any kind of regulations, but then I started talking to someone who actually knew what they were talking about, so that's one issue is putting power back on the grid when it's meant to be turned off. So your equipment has to be, it's not, you can do it, but that's not something you should play around with unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And for the community, were you envisaging like a sort of microgrid or
what I really want to play around with is make a small pumped hydro storage system, because there's about 10 meters, 12 meters, maybe 10 or 15 meters between the land where we are sitting now and the land down the bottom. And I thought, okay, we can put some solar panels down there and just pump water up the top and then generate water as it goes back. Then we can film it all, make videos and make some money out of the videos. That's the plan, and show people how to do it. But I fancy doing a pumped hydro thing because that's easy to test on a small scale and see how well it works. Yeah,
well, I mean, all the countries are doing it. Norway's doing it. Switzerland, everyone's doing it.
You need to. There's quite interesting ways to convert the water to energy, and some of the more old-fashioned things like wheels with buckets and things on are actually more efficient than some of the things you might think were efficient. Okay. So yeah. Or the other thing is I saw these gravity storage things that are quite cool.
I've seen those as well. Yeah. That's quite a lot of work to build. Something like that. Yeah.
But I think you can have fun with making something that's a bit more, makes for more of an interesting video. Like I love the idea of making videos about science and technology and engineering and stuff mixed with living off grid and growing your own food. Because I love living out here in the countryside. Just if I try to farm or anything and do just that, I get bored. Need to be doing stuff that is intellectually challenging.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love all the technology stuff. The ChatGPT thing is brilliant. I know people don't like it. I love it because it's just patient. Like my mates, I call my friends to ask them questions. They just get annoyed with me because I'm just stupid compared with them, because they actually know what they're doing with this stuff.
And regarding sort of the farming idea, I mean, we farm at home as well. We have quite a big vegetable garden. But of course, our growing season is quite small because we're up at 1,600 meters. And so we pretty much just have the summer. We have about 4 months where we can grow things. But here, it seems like it's already much warmer, of course.
They do 2 crops a year.
They do 2, okay.
Yeah,
so you've got quite a big growing season.
So, and you can grow over the winter with a polytunnel thing. Yeah. Big, I don't know what they call them.
Yeah, I know.
Those big plastic things.
Yeah.
Solar, yeah, but what do you call it in Romanian?
Solar.
Solar, yeah. This is like a giant polytunnel.
Yeah.
So you can grow stuff in the winter in those. But again, the energy storage stuff is super interesting. This is exactly the kind of experiments I want to play around with, But we need engineers. Any engineers watching, or electronics, or programmers, or whatever, people watching who fancy getting involved in this kind of stuff. This is our dream, to be building these things. So get in contact, show us how to do it.
But you were talking about with the solar, do you have lots of available land that you could put the solar panels up? Because I noticed just a lot of trees around here at the moment.
So where I am here, where you saw those panels by the gate, if you put them up about another 10 meters in the air, that would be the best possible position and be near my house.
Okay.
Down the bottom, I'll show you later, I've got more land, but we're in a valley here, so you've got the valley, sides of the valley, and the sun now is coming from there in the morning across over there, but in the winter it's there over there. Yeah. So, but those panels still get, these are about the best positions for all year round without moving them too much. That's why they're not fixed properly, because I move them around depending on the time of year. What I'd really like to do is have them on something that can move with the sun. The thing is, they're getting so cheap now that it's almost not worth it. It's better just to have loads of them. Just have a string inverter, a long string, and they'll give you 240 volts that you need for the domestic stuff for much of the day.
Yeah, I was originally looking at, I don't remember what it's called, but it looks a bit like a flower. It comes up, all the panels go out, and then it sort of turns around. It looks very cool, but
it's absurdly expensive. And
yeah, exactly. And I just went the route of, I'll just have way more solar panels.
Yes. It's like something cool. It looks cool, yeah. But this is another thing with all the stuff on YouTube. These brilliant people, clearly fantastically talented engineers, who build these things and go, look what I built. It's fantastically cool. And what? How can I do that? I can't, because you
got to buy it.
Yeah. So I want to make stuff that other people who maybe are trying to learn these things have some chance of building them. With some help, because I think that stuff is very marketable, that information.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we're onto something with that. We just need to do it. Okay, so that's enough of all the questions, I think. I'm sure me and Robbie will be in touch on a regular basis. So if you've got any questions for either of us, just put them in the comments. Like, subscribe, and do those things. Share our channel. Please tell other people about our channel and what we do. And I guess now we go for a drive around and see what we find outside.
Yeah, let's go.
Good. All right. Thanks for watching, and see you again soon. Bye for now.